YouTube. I'm Brett from RANTS. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Alright, guys, so it looks like we're actually going to be treated to another Game of Thrones prequel series. Of course, they've got House of the Dragon in the works, and that'll be coming out pretty soon. But something that's going to be coming out just a little bit, and it's probably going to be the next thing after House of the Dragon, and that is going to be a series based off the tales of Dunk and Egg. And to me, it is really telling that they are picking these two instead of trying to venture back further, maybe to unknown, maybe to even more interesting parts of the land of Westeros. Let's just put it that way, of a Song of Ice and Fire lore, basically. Of course, after Game of Thrones ended, they were going to go back, thousands of years, and they were going to kind of tell us a little bit more about the beginnings of the White Walkers and about how all these houses came into being. It was going to be kind of interesting. It was going to be new, but it failed. It never even came into fruition. They got a pilot episode up, and I guess apparently that didn't work out. So they scrapped that, and then they went for House of the Dragon. And, from the Fire and Blood novels, that to me, adding that along with Dunk and Egg tells me a lot about how HBO feels about their current audience when it comes to Game of Thrones. And I'll tell you another thing that kind of reveals it is what it says right here. Another Game of Thrones prequel is in the works at HBO, based on the tales of Dunk and Egg novels by George R.R. Martin. Game of Thrones ended its historic run with a fizzle rather than a bang. Many were confused as to how a show that had such a solid run could end so poorly. HBO reportedly lost half its viewers after Game of Thrones ended, but it's unclear if that is because the series ended or because of the way it ended. Okay. I think this writer's pretty naive, to say the least. It's not... it's the way it ended. Period. Let's just say this would have gone on another season. Let's say Game of Thrones would have gone on another season after that terrible ending. Or they'd been like, hey, you know what, we're going to bring back another... we're going to leave everything as it is, and we're going to bring back another season of that from the starting point where they left off. They wouldn't have had any fans. These subscriptions would have been canceled. HBO would still be in the same shape that it was in because it was a terrible, terrible ending. And that kind of, to me, it tells that HBO is maybe still kind of a little bit in denial, that they don't want to admit that it was completely their fault, that they completely dropped the ball on this one, and that they think that it could just be because, hey, there's no Game of Thrones now and fans are not pissed at us. No, they're not pissed. They just want more Game of Thrones. Well, of course, like I said, they are sticking with, the Dunk and Egg novels. They're sticking with, of course, House of the Dragon is based off a Fire and Blood novel. I guess you could call that a novel. It's more like an encyclopedia. But, there's information in there, information from George R.R. Martin, where that he could be beneficial to the creation of these series coming up. They're not wanting to venture into untreaded territory right now because I don't think that they think they can. I think they're still, I think they're testing the waters. They want to see what's going on. I would be shocked if this even goes into the casting stage. This Dunk and Egg series goes into the casting stage until they know for sure that House of the Dragon is a success. I don't particularly believe House of the Dragon is going to be the success they are hoping for. And it kind of makes me wonder, okay, if House of the Dragon doesn't live up to Game of Thrones standards, is 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 that going to mean that they're just going to cancel it? What if it is a great show, but it just isn't a once in a lifetime show like Game of Thrones was? Are they still? Is that still not good enough? What will it take for House of the Dragon to be successful in the eyes of HBO, for it to get renewed, for it to carry on? I'm curious about that because I don't think we have an answer to that right now. And I don't think we'll get an answer until at least past the first season of House of the Dragon, if it makes it to that. Of course, the one thing that always nagged me about Game of Thrones was they're like, well, our budget is the reason why we have to cut back on some things. But then the very first prequel trilogy series that they make is about dragons, about computer animated dragons that they whined and complained about for all these months, telling or all these years and all these seasons, telling us that, man, if it just wasn't for the budget for these dragons, we can maybe have carried on, with maybe about 3 or 4 more episodes, or maybe this we had to cut back on some of these things because of the dragon budget. Well, now you're going to be increasing the dragon budget tenfold, and to me, it was I thought it was a piss poor excuse now. And now knowing that they're going to make House of the Dragon and they're going to have all these dragons flying around and they're going to have all these beautiful scenes with them, it just really pisses me off even more because I'm like, what a dumb excuse. They could have made something really spectacular with Game of Thrones from beginning to end, and they just chose not to. They thought at that point, once it became a hit, they thought they had fans, and they thought those book reading fans, those fans that have read the books, and the fans that were fans of the show would just stick with it. They didn't realize that there would be a sharp decline, and that there would be a fan outburst, and the cancellations of HBO shows just how significant fans hated that final season, and especially that series finale. You could have had you could have taken away the last 2 episodes, and I think it would still have been able to go on. I don't think you would have seen the cancellations of these HBO subscriptions. I think there would be an excitement still, even though it would have been a slow season. But because of those last 2 episodes, that completely just ruined any excitement for Game of Thrones. At least for me it did. And I know for a lot of others. You go on these fan sites, you don't see the excitement there that it was, when this show was going on. This show doesn't have the staying power of, let's say, a Harry Potter, or something along those lines, or even Lord of the Rings. You still got those fan bases all these years after those movies were out. You still got those fan bases excited. Not so much with Game of Thrones fans. In fact, I would even go so far to say that anything that's going to be coming out, Game of Thrones fans are going to be kind of cringing a little bit, because I'm like, ugh, what kind of crap are y'all going to feed us now? That's kind of the way it feels. It almost kind of feels like you're torturing fans, but like they're hesitant to go see it. It's like it's like when your favorite sports team is fixing and playing the Super Bowl, you're excited about it, but then there's that chance of what if they lose, and then that heart-wrenching pain just is going to go through you, and it hurts, and it almost hurts to the point where you almost would not rather experience it, but you have to watch the show. I mean, it's going to be kind of that way with Game of Thrones to a certain extent. There's going to be this hesitation that it's going to scare, I think, a lot of fans off. And I don't think they're going to get the fan base back for House of the Dragon, or even for this Dunkin' Egg, if it even makes it to a series. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think HBO has too high of a bar set for House of the Dragon. I don't think that it will reach it. But as always, guys, let me know what y'all think. And thanks for watching.